An important downtrend in the market happened not long ago, which caused a lot of fear. And yes, this kind of fear does happen every time the market goes down sharply. It's okay to call it a crash, an adjustment, a pullback, or anything else. It was basically a small slowdown. It wasn't really crazy. It did make old coins drop on the chart by about 10 to 15 or even 20%. A lot of people did respond too much to it. Many people were not sure what to do. And when you look at the market today, you can still see that rebound. Several of these old coins are worth more than 10% or 20% more than they were. Right now, the big ones are HBAR and SUI. Both of them are up. You buy 10% and 7.3%. XLM and XRP. Though XRP isn't really up that much. In fact, I believe XRP is still down a little. Yes, XRP is going down or is actually at 0%. At this point, it's still even. XLM is only up 2.8%, which isn't too exciting, but HBAR and SUI are definitely on the rise again, along with some other old coins. We're still pretty red on the hourly chart, nothing too crazy there, but we're all green for the week, the month, the year, and even the day. That's because we've been seeing a lot of great progress. Now, a lot of people want to know why we had such a big sell-off. I guess I should say that we did change the mood. We also got rid of a lot of late longs because, as we said before, a lot of people start to long the market too late when the market is full of excitement and greed. And that leads to bankruptcies, which hurts the market even more. Most of this was caused by the $950 million in liquidations, which had an effect on 310,000 trades. It seems like a lot of this was aimed at Ethereum and XRP as well, which is why we kept an eye on XRP during the week. In fact, it's down 9.2%. I really think that we will get back on track with XRP. However, Ethereum is what I'm really interested in here. This is because Ethereum has gone up more than 50% in the last month, while Bitcoin has only gone up 8%. There has been a very big improvement. Okay, now, Ethereum is starting to do much better than Bitcoin. I did say in the live stream earlier today that we are pretty much confirming phase 2. The second phase has begun and Ethereum is taking the lead. We'll talk more about this in a moment, but I'd like to talk about the market itself. Let me clear everything out so we can see that the crypto market cap is now green. HBAR could go up by more than 10%. Again, HBAR is very strong off of the lows, so this is the coin that's moving the most. Also, old coin season is back to 40 plus, which we love to see. We'll talk more about HBAR in a bit. I did talk about this in the live stream earlier today, and I'm going to quickly show you this because I do want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about the amount over the next 30 days, 7 days, and 24 hours. It's also important for me to get the market cap here, since I just want to compare a few things. Let's talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum. To sum up, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin has a market cap of $2.3 trillion, while Ethereum's is $450 billion. Because of the number, this is important to remember. So we can see that Ethereum has almost $40 billion in volume in the last 24 hours, while Bitcoin has 90. In terms of demand, this shows that Ethereum is beginning to catch up to Bitcoin. Actually, I said the same thing during the live stream. The second part of the cycle is when Ethereum really starts to do better than Bitcoin. Like I said, I've been watching, and here I've only been comparing Bitcoin and Ethereum over shorter periods of time, like 7 days or even a month. We could also see that Ethereum is now a long way behind Bitcoin. Do we really start to speed up Ethereum to catch up to Bitcoin in a year? That's the question. I think we do. When we look at the all-time picture of Ethereum and Bitcoin, it's clear that Ethereum has been doing better than Bitcoin. It's clear that Ethereum has been doing better than Bitcoin over time. But the lights are the most important thing here, right? I'm going back to 2021 for Ethereum. I also talked about this in the live stream when we looked at Bitcoin's all-time picture. If we look at this side by side, we can see that Ethereum still needs to catch up to that high point in 2021. This will cause altcoins to also go through the roof. I'll talk about that next. But this is what an idea or Hedera looks like one day. This is SUI on a single day. This is both XLM and XRP in one day. Some of these are just beginning to turn green XRP. Again, though, the daily is now green, but HBAR is the big winner, up more than 10%. There is a chance that it will break back up from those lows. We did wick down to almost 23 cents. Once more, good response to the lows. It's good to see that we also found a lot of support above some of these lows. SUI in terms of the month we're looking at. In terms of a month, SUI is still just trying to break through that barrier. This is what a year looks like. So we're still at that support level in the longer term. Then we need a big break above these levels to be sure that the breakout happened and for the price to rise again to the highs set in 2020. In other news, XLM is showing some strength today, though it's only up almost 3%. This is how it has looked over the past month. This is what a year looks like. Again, we're up against support on a higher time frame that goes back to January. It will take us a while to get to those 2024 highs of about 63.5 cents XRP for a month. Not too crazy. It looks like we'll still hit that amount of resistance around 340 cents. That's something we need to really break up over. This is great news for XRP. We are seeing support around the previous highs. Indeed, this is what we need to see on these charts. We want to see strength against the highs that were hit before. We want to really set a floor before we get that big push back up to go after those support levels in the longer term. Because once more, the more help we have at the floor form tier, the more likely it is that we can hold on to it if we fail to break through the higher time frame resistance. Aside from that, though, let's talk more about what's going on with cash. First, with Ethereum, going back to the beginning of July, I said that the short squeeze would be the worst in history and that old coins would also go through a complete parabolic curve. This is because Ethereum was the only crypto that didn't have much value at that point. The number of short Ethereum futures positions that have been opened is one of the biggest ever. This is in Ethereum's past. We were aware that Ethereum would have that run up. But guess what? There is still some doubt about this. A lot of people are still shorting Ethereum here. This means that if Ethereum starts to break over around 4K, it could quickly teleport to 5K or higher, which would be a new all-time high in price discovery. This is because this is where most of the leverage trades for shorts are located. We also think about the flow of money around the world, especially the M2 stocks when we think about that. This comes from Ted Pillows. The US M2 stock is back above $22 trillion once more. Even though the M2 supply in Japan, China, and the EU is at all-time highs, Ethereum is still 26% below its all-time high from 2021. You're not ready for the rise in ETH. In addition, I don't believe that people are ready for the ETH rise. When we look at how things are set up here, right, the world system is being flooded with liquidity. We've already seen that the Fed is also adding money to the system. That's the reason stocks keep going up to new highs. It's only a matter of time before the value of Ethereum really starts to go through the roof. We are now in step 2, as I said. Okay, at this point, we know we're in phase 2 because the theory is doing better than Bitcoin ETFs. I'm not telling the truth. It's fine. It's not necessary. This is where the facts are. Recent investments into Ethereum ETFs have been through the roof. In fact, they have flipped Bitcoin, which means we're now in phase 2. There's no doubt that this will be talked about by major media at some point. Now that we've thought about it, let's look at my post again, okay? I said that old coins will also go through a complete parabolic curve. It's because they use Ethereum. They are the next person in line. Small amounts of money from Ethereum will start to flow into big caps. Also, think about this. ETFs for altcoins that haven't gone live yet are still on our list. Also, think about this. ETFs for altcoins that haven't gone live yet are still on our list. That's what will make altcoins really take off next. Okay, but also in terms of Ethereum. The Ethereum supply squeeze is 32 to 1. Since May, 32 times more people have wanted Ethereum ETFs than have been able to get them. Businesses, companies, and funds are holding on to Ethereum. This is the start of a supply shock. Still, if this does happen, I don't even know what to think about Ethereum. This could be the most positive situation in the history of Ethereum. Those shorts are still on. It looks like the market is now being eaten alive. As Ethereum is about to break out of macro resistance, it could quickly teleport to $5,000 or more, setting a new all-time high in prices. At the same time, a lot of cash is coming into the system. I don't think things have ever been this positive. That's why I keep telling everyone that it's not just about what we see in price movement every day. See what's going on behind the prices. What is really going on? I talked about this even before July, right? I told you that July would be a big month for crypto.